Hello, y'all. This is Julian Rico. Welcome to college football week 14 picks. So, last week has been a chaotic week last week, so we'll hopefully this week could be more chaotic as we're getting closer to conference championship games and including college football playoffs. So, let's get started. On Friday, Oregon State taking on the 11th team in the country, Boise State, 12 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Boise State is a 19-point favorite. Boise State, they're in the Mountain West Championship game. They're going to take on the Beavers, who are coming off their first Pac-12 championship win against Washington State. They need one more win to go to a bowl game this year. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Boise State will give Ashton Jeanty his best game of his Boise State career, and I say Boise State wins it by 20. Oklahoma State taking on the 25th ranked team on Colorado Buffaloes, 12 p.m. Eastern on ABC and ESPN+. Colorado's a 16.5-point favorites. Colorado, after losing to Kansas, the Big 12 Conference Championship, it was in their hands until it slipped against Kansas. However, they do need to win this game and have two teams to lose, either Iowa State, BYU, or Arizona State. One of those two to lose out in order for them to go to the Big 12 championship game. They're going to take on the Cowboys, who, they haven't won a conference game, and it's been one of the worst seasons the Cowboys have ever had. So I'm going to go Colorado in this one. I think it's going to be a closer game because I think Ole and Gordon will want to have finish the season strong for the Cowboys. I got Colorado winning it by 8 in this one. Minnesota taking on Wisconsin at 12 p.m. Eastern on CBS. Wisconsin's a 2.5-point favorites, and this is a huge rivalry week. The winner of this rivalry will get an axe. So huge stipulations on the line. Minnesota coming off what should have been a good Penn State team. They're going to take on Wisconsin, who, yes, they lose to Nebraska, and now they need to win this game to go to bowl eligible. You know what? I'm going to go Wisconsin. I think this is a home field advantage. I think Wisconsin fans are going to be allowed in this rivalry, and I think Wisconsin will go bowl eligible this year, and they will win the X in that rivalry. Another rivalry game we're going to be seeing, Mississippi State taking on Ole Miss, the 14th ranked team in the country, 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ABC and ESPN+. Ole Miss is a 26-point favorite after getting upset loss to Florida. Not sure if they have the chance to go back to college football players, which I do not think they're going to be contending for that playoff spot. Mississippi State, it's been a tough year for them. Of course, you hire a new head coach, Jeff Lebby, who was the offense coordinator for Oklahoma State. Looking to get that offense redo, hopefully have a successful year, but things were not going well. I'm going to go Ole Miss winning in this one. I said Ole Miss wins it by 25 in this one. Utah State taking on Colorado State at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on FS1. Colorado State is a 6-point favorite. After losing to Fresno State, they must win this game and hope Nevada beats UNLV to get to the Mountain West Championship game with Boise State. But they're going to take on Utah State, and yes, it's a rivalry game. I don't know. But this is a huge game for Colorado State to win it. I got Colorado State winning this one. I said the Rams win it by 5. Georgia Tech taking on the 7th team in the country, Georgia, at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ABC and ESPN+. Georgia's a 19.5-point favorites, and yes, Georgia are now in the SEC championship game, so I do expect in the fourth quarter to bench all the starters, get them healthy, ready for the SEC championship game next week. And they will be waiting for the winner of Texas and Texas A&M, which we'll get to that later on. Georgia Tech has a great season, of course, getting that huge win against NC State. However, that win will carry that momentum. I got Georgia winning this by 20 in that one. Nebraska taking on Iowa at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on NBC. Iowa's a 5.5-point favorites. Nebraska is back in the bowl game for the first time since 2016. Iowa's trying to finish the season strong. Give me Iowa in this one. I think close game. The Hawkeyes win it by 4. Utah taking on UCF on 8 p.m. Eastern on Fox. UCF is a 9.5-point favorite, and yes, the Black Knights are looking to go bowl eligible this year. But it's not going to be easy against Utah, who, yes, Utah, tough year. You go from Cam Rising out for the season. Isaiah Wilson, who's the younger brother of Zach Wilson, he goes down, and they got quarterback changes. However, their defense is still playing really good. But I'm going to go with UCF in this one. I think Utah's defense will find a way to slow down the running game, but I think UCF will handle this one. I got UCF by 4 in that one. All right, let's get to these Saturday games. Let's go to the game. Michigan take on the second-ranked team in the country, Ohio State, at 12 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Ohio State is a 20.5-point favorite. Here's the thing about a 20.5-point favorite. You can think, oh, this is where we're going to start the chaos week. Michigan can upset Ohio State. Okay, Michigan's coming off a 50-burger against Northwestern, and they're in the bowl eligible this year. Ohio State coming off a huge win against Indiana. Can they keep that momentum against their rivals, Michigan, who, yes, they lost 3 straight years. 3 of them, 2 of them were from Jim Harbaugh, and then one last year was Sharon Moore. This is going to be a good one. I think it's going to be a real close game. However, I think Ohio State, if they win this game, they're going to play Oregon in the Big Ten championship game. But I got Ohio State in this one. I got Buckeyes winning it 21-28 over Michigan. 8th-ranked team in the country, Tennessee, taking on Vanderbilt at 12 p.m. Eastern on ABC and ESPN+. Tennessee's an 11-point favorite. Now, Tennessee's now in the playoffs, but if they win, they're in the playoffs. But if they lose, they're going to need some help, at least some help, to stay in the playoffs. They're going to take on a Vanderbilt team that were so close to beating LSU. You know what? Give me Vanderbilt. I think this is the chaos we're going to be seeing. And this is a rivalry game between Tennessee and Vanderbilt, and it's going to be played in Nashville. So Vandy fans will want to see an upset here. So give me Vanderbilt over Tennessee. 15th ranked team in the country, South Carolina, taking on the 12th team in the country on Clemson at 12 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Clemson is a 2.5-point favorite. And yes, Clemson, they must win this game and have Miami losing to Syracuse, which we'll get to that later on. But they're going to play the Gamecocks. And yes, this is a rivalry game, of course. The Gamecocks and the Tigers always battle each other out in the Carolinas. You know what? This is Ian Dabble Sweeney's home turf. I got Clemson winning it. I think it's a close game. Clemson wins it by 3. 23rd ranked team in the country, Illinois, taking on Northwestern at 12 p.m. Eastern on the Big Ten Network. Illinois is a 7.5-point favorite. Give me the Fighting Illini. I think they will get their first 10-win season this year. Give me the Fighting Illini against the Bobcats of Northwestern. I say they win it by 7 in this one. Another rivalry in this one, Louisville taking on Kentucky at 12 p.m. Eastern on ACC Network. Louisville's at 3.5-point favorites, and yes, this is a rivalry game for these two teams. Kentucky not having their great year. Of course, you lose Liam Cohen, who's now the Bucs offensive coordinator. Mark Stoops is still the head coach of this team, so we'll see if his future depends on this game. But Louisville, of course, you go from last year's ACC championship runner-uppers to then this year. You try to finish the season strong. I'm going to go Louisville in this one. It's a road game against Kentucky. Give me Louisville in this one by 5 in this one. Duke taking on Wake Forest at 12 p.m. Eastern on ACC Network. Duke is a 4.5-point favorite, and what a story for Duke. A lot of people had Duke be a 4-win team last year. However, this team is really a great team with Mikal Murphy at QB and plus Manny Diaz, showing that he can still coach in the ACC. But they're going to take on Wake Forest. Their season has been tough this year, but I got Duke winning it on the road against Wake Forest, and I got them by 6. Kansas taking on Baylor at 12 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. Kansas is a 1.5-point favorite after getting a huge win, not only beating Iowa State, Kansas State, but last week beating Colorado, and they're one game away to go to bowl eligible. But they have to take on the Baylor Bears, who they're in the contention for the Big 12 championship, which it's going to have a lot of chaos, which that's what Baylor is going to need. I got the Jayhawks. I think the Jayhawks, the way they're running the football, I think they can do it. I got Jayhawks winning it by 3 in this one. West Virginia taking on Texas Tech Red Raiders at 12 p.m. Eastern on FS1. Texas Tech is a 3-point favorites, and yes, both of those teams are playing for a Big 12 conference championship contention. But I think those two teams will hopefully in the future go to the Big 12 championship game in the future. I got Texas Tech. I think Texas Tech, with this roster, the way they're playing both offense and defensively, I think they will show everyone that they will be contending the Big 12 next year. Give me the Red Raiders by 4. Louisiana taking on ULM at 12 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. UL is a 9.5-point favorite, and yeah, this is the Louisiana Racing Cajun for the Sun Belt. If they win this game, they're going to the Sun Belt Championship game. ULM is looking to clinch a bowl eligible this year, but I don't think so. I think Louisiana Raging Cajun will win it by 10. Pittsburgh taking on Boston College at 3 p.m. Eastern on the CW Network. Boston College is a 4.5-point favorite. Pittsburgh losing, I believe, 3 in a row. Not a season a lot of Pittsburgh Panthers did not expect. Boston College, congrats. Go into a bowl eligible under Bill O'Brien. Congrats. But I got Pittsburgh upsetting Boston College in this one. Give me the Panthers by 5. Maryland taking on the 4th-ranked team in the country, Penn State, at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on the Big Ten Network. Penn State is a 24.5-point favorite. And yes, I said Ohio State will beat Michigan. They will be in the Big Ten championship game. But for Penn State, if they win this game and Ohio State loses, interruption. Sorry about that. Continue. Maryland playing Penn State. Sorry, Penn State wins it by 25. But the scenario for Penn State would be if Ohio State loses to Michigan and they win this game, they will be in the Big Ten championship game. But I don't think that's going to happen. Give me Penn State by 25. 5th-ranked team in the country, Notre Dame taking on USC at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on CBS. Notre Dame is a 7.5-point favorite. Don't you get how Notre Dame is playing? Okay, they're going to play on USC in Southern California. Give me the Trojans upsetting the Fighting Irish, and they win this game by 3. The 6th-ranked team in the country, Miami, taking on Syracuse at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Miami's an 11-point favorite. Give me Miami by 4 in this one. I think Syracuse will try to finish the season strong, but I think Miami will play SMU in the ACC championship game in Charlotte, which they will be taking on Cal. Cal will be taking on SMU, 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. SMU is a 13.5-point favorite. Give me the Mustangs winning it by 14. Auburn taking on the 13th-ranked team in the country, Alabama, 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ABC and ESPN+. Alabama is an 11.5-point favorite. This is the Iron Bowl. Of course, Auburn, one more win. They're in the bowl eligible season, but Alabama needs this win the most and at least have some of these teams out of the college football players and stay in and be in the hunt. You know what? I'm gonna go Alabama. I think they need this win the most. Give me Alabama by 12 in this one. Sorry. 16th-ranked team in the country, Arizona State taking on Arizona, 3:30 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Arizona State is a 9-point favorite. They need this win. They're in the Big 12 championship game, and they have to play their rivals, who are having a tough year. But, of course, their star wide receiver is going to be in the NFL draft. Depends on if he will declare for the draft. But I got Arizona State, so I have Arizona State winning this by 10. That means Arizona State will be playing in the Big 12 championship game. Arkansas taking on the 21st-ranked team in the country, Missouri, at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ACC Network. Missouri is a 3-point favorite. Give me Missouri in this one by 4. NC State taking on UNC at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ACC Network. UNC is a 3-point favorite. Give me the Wolfpack after the announcement that the Tar Heels are firing Mac Brown. We'll see where this situation goes for the Tar Heels. But I got NC State winning it by 2. TCU taking on Cincinnati, 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN+. TCU is a 3.5-point favorite on Cincinnati. They need this win to go bowl eligible. And I got the Bearcats winning it by 5. App State taking on Georgia Southern at 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN+. Georgia Southern is a 2.5-point favorite. App State getting that huge win against James Madison. But Georgia Southern, they need to go to the Sun Belt Championship game. Will it happen? Give me Georgia Southern in this one by 1 point. Purdue taking on Indiana at 7 p.m. Eastern on FS1. Indiana's a 29-point favorite. Indiana by 30. Florida taking on Florida State at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. Florida is a 15-point favorite. And yes, Florida had a great start after getting a huge win against Ole Miss, and they're bowl eligible this year. So something great is going on in Billy Napers. They're going to take on Florida State. And yeah, you go from undefeated season. You got snacked in the college football playoffs. This year, all the talk is Florida State. How's DJ Ungalua going to play in Mike Norvell's offense? Turn out you lose of Georgia Tech. It's a disaster. And then you go from worst record in the ACC. So that's hard. Give me Florida by 16. Oklahoma taking on LSU at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. LSU is a 6-point favorite. This is a huge game for LSU because they need to win this the most. Oklahoma's coming off a huge win against Alabama. Give me LSU Tigers winning it by 7 in this one. Washington taking on the first ranked team in the country, Oregon at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on NBC. Oregon is a 19-point favorite. Give me the Ducks in this one. They want to finish the season strong, and I got the Ducks winning it by 20. 24th ranked team in the country, Kansas State taking on the 18th ranked team in the country, Iowa State at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Iowa State is a 2.5-point favorite. Iowa State must win this game and play either Arizona State or BYU. I have Kansas State upsetting Iowa State, and I think you know what's going to happen, which I'll get to that in a minute. Nevada taking on the 22nd ranked team in the country, UNLV, 8 p.m. Eastern on CBS Sports Network. UNLV is a 17.5-point favorite, and yeah, give me UNLV. They win this by 19, and they will play Boise State in the Mountain West Championship game. Virginia taking on Virginia Tech at 8 p.m. Eastern on ACC Network. Virginia Tech is a 7-point favorite. The winner of this game, they go to bowl eligible. I got Virginia Tech beating Virginia in a huge game for rivalry weekend. Marshall taking on James Madison at 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPNU. James Madison is a 3.5-point favorite. Give me James Madison by 4. Houston taking on the 19th ranked team in the country, BYU at 10:15 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. BYU is a 13-point favorite, and yes, that means it's going to be Arizona State versus BYU in the Big 12 championship game. BYU wins it by 20. All right, really quickly, it is the game of the week. Third ranked team in the country, Texas, taking on the 20th ranked team in the country, Texas A&M at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ABC and ESPN+. Texas is a 5.5-point favorite. The winner plays Georgia in the SEC championship game next week. This is the Lone Star Showdown. Texas leads the series 76-37-5, all-time series. The last meeting, Texas 25-25, Texas A&M. Texas won that game on November 21st, 2011. This is going to be played in Kyle Field. The 12th men are going to be there. You know what? Give me Texas A&M. They're going to play Georgia. And give me the Aggies. I got Aggies 27, Texas 26. That is it for today, folks. And if you hope to see this setting again, hit those like buttons, subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.